Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fauza Amani binti Muhammad Taha, matrix number 197635. So, I was given an assignment from subject Bioremediation, where I need to come up with a model based on the problem that I've chosen. So, the problem that I've chosen is that an industrial area where there's a petroleum industry that polluted the ground, the soil and underground water. So here we need some methods for us to solve the problem. So here I have two methods, Bioaugmentation and Biosparging. So first of all, I would like to go into the problem that I've stated before. So the location consists of a black rich soil, some type of loamy soil. So that's the characteristic of the area that I've chosen, soil of the area that I've chosen. And then the pollutant is crude oil, which mainly composed of benzene and ethyl benzene. And then the temperature is at 11 degrees Celsius. So there is no bacteria at the current location. There's no pollutant degrading bacteria or some sort. So here come the methods part. So I've chosen two methods for this problem, bioaugmentation and biosparging. So what is bioaugmentation? Bioaugmentation is introduction or adding pollutant degrading bacteria to the location or area that have pollutant in there. So pollutant degrading bacteria were extracted or obscured from the lab. So you make the bacteria at the lab. So the strain of bacteria is somehow were modified at the lab, so it fits the current situation. So here I've told you that there's no bacteria, right? And the temperature is at 11 degrees Celsius. So the best thing at this area or soil is that it's rich in nutrient. So it is a suitable condition for the bacteria to live. But then the temperature maybe the bacteria need to be altered to fit the current temperature. Some bacteria cannot live at temperature below 25 degrees Celsius. So the bacteria need to be modified at the lab to fit the current situation. So the pros of bioaugmentation is that it doesn't have, any interference of chemicals. There's no chemicals added to the soil, to the underground water. There's no any environmental risk happen when you added bioaugmentation method in this area. So the only cons of this bioaugmentation is that maybe the way we need to make up the strand, sometimes it kind of expensive to make a new strain of bacteria, and it may take a lot of time, time consuming for the process to make suitable pollutant degrading bacteria for the soil. But then maybe there's already available pollutant degrading bacteria at the lab. So the only way for us to see is that we do some experiment on the bacteria, how they live, how they adapt to the current soil situation. So yeah, bioaugmentation is one of the process that I will introduce to this problem, because there's no pollutant degrading bacteria. So we need to add a strain for, we need to add a pollutant degrading bacteria in this soil, underground water. So yeah, that's one of the way on how bioaugmentation works. So second method that I'll be using for this problem is biosparging. So here we have biosparging. So in biosparging, you actually supply the soil and the underground water with excess oxygen and nutrients. This way, you will have an abundance of nutrient and oxygen for the bacteria to live. So shorter time for the reaction to occur, for the bacteria to amplify in numbers, for the bacteria to increase in numbers, so that more pollutant will be degraded. Okay, so the pollutant is crude oil, so the bacteria, pollutant degrading bacteria, will break down the ethylbenzene, the component in the crude oil. So you have a friendly, eco-friendly method to degrade pollutant. So yeah, next, the best thing about biosparging is that it's a bit effective. It's effective, because it increases the number of bacteria in a good way. It supply oxygen. It just supply oxygen. It just supply nutrients for the bacteria. So it is effective. It is sustainable because it's only supply oxygen and nutrients, and it is cheaper. So one of the trait of industrial economy is that they need some cheap solution for their expensive method, for their expensive costs, because they are the one who polluted the soil and the underground water, which is quite expensive, quite an expensive, what do you say, sacrifice, So, but they do not want to waste their money on that kind of thing. So biosparging is one of the cheaper method for this company, industrial area, industry. So yeah, the cons is that maybe time effectiveness, because maybe depending on the concentration of the pollutant, it maybe took 1 year or more. Some maybe took only about 1 year, some maybe took about years before it completely degraded. Okay, so next I will show you how this model look, how this model represent the original method, how this model express how bioaugmentation work, how biosparging work. Okay, so this is example of the model of the real life situation. So here we have, we have the box, which is the petroleum industry, substitute for the petroleum industry, and then here is the compartment where the bioaugmentation occurs, where you supply bacteria, pollutant degrading bacteria into the soil, and then this is substitute for biosparging, biosparging generator. Not biosparging, the oxygen and nutrient generator for the biosparging method. Okay, you can see the soil, the ground underground. So imagine this area, this container containing water is the groundwater. So the way biosparging occurs is that you supply oxygen and nutrients into the soil and water. So as you can see, there's bubbles. Okay, so this is maybe the oxygen supply, and then normally there's a few cubes into the ground, so there's more oxygen can be supplied into the ground and the soil. So there'll be oxygen, nutrients supplied into the soil and into the groundwater. So after okay, here I cannot like show the bacteria, but then just imagine there's already. Okay, so as we know, Biosparging is more effective, sustainable, and cheaper. So this technique is suitable for on situ or in situ remediation of both soil and groundwater, and is the best option for mineral oil removal there is. Even large amount of mineral oil can be removed with this method. So, as I've told you before, the time of the remediation project takes varies from 1 to several years. Depends on the concentration, type of contaminants, and etc. So the extent to which the soil can be aerated also were included in how long this biosparging needed to be done. Okay. Although after remediation of mineral oil, there is usually some residual contamination, and this consists of the immobile heavier oil fraction with no risk of diffusion. The amount of residual contaminant is much smaller since these physical methods predominantly target the volatile and or soluble fraction of the oil. So this method successfully removes heavier, less mobile fraction. So that's why biosparging is I really suggest this method in my problem, because it accommodate the bacteria with oxygen supply and enhance their degradation capacity of the mineral oils or the component of the crude oil, which ethylbenzene, benzene, and such all. In this method, I'll be using cell bioaugmentation, in which I introduce organism into the area instead of taking new bacteria, because there's no pollutant degrading bacteria. So I introduce organism in there. So this is why I use cell bioaugmentation, because there's no bacteria in the selected location. And yeah, if I use, therefore there's some alteration needed to be done, because there's no, the bacteria is new to the environment, and there need to be altered to the environment, as I mentioned before. So I hope after showing you the way my model works, you can understand how biosparging and bioaugmentation actually works. So let me add something to my point on why I choose these two methods. So for bioaugmentation, it is actually more better from traditional use, because you only added a strain of bacteria to the area. So for the possibility on contamination, I think there's none, and it's obviously more safer than the usage of chemicals and other thing. So yeah, bioaugmentation really help in reducing the problem in my area, in the area that I've choose problem. And then yes, biosparging, it does not include any chemicals, anything that might be an environmental risk. So yeah, there's these two. So I hope that after I show you my model, you can understand how these two methods work, and how my problem can be solved by these two methods. For industrial area, they maybe like this method because you didn't need any, extra money to build, to make this thing happen. So yeah, and yeah, because I choose a large, the location is a large industrial area, so for the placement of this object is not that hard, because the area that I choose is kind of large, so the implementation of this certain thing can be put at the area, so there's no limitation in space. And yeah, that's all. So thank you for watching. I hope my video do give some input on how biosparging and bioaugmentation happen, and I hope that my problem solved by these two methods. And that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.